Hello, guys. So today I'm going to talk about, and I did a 1 minute video yesterday about this. It was very brief, but I'm going to expand on it a little bit and just elaborate so people can understand. And a lot of you probably already grasped this concept, but I do want to talk about emotional vampires for a little bit and how when we are unconscious, we are slaves to the matrix. We are pretty much, if you're not occupying your body, something is, if that makes sense. If your consciousness isn't occupying your body, then another consciousness is occupying your body. And you're kind of a screensaver, if you will. Your light switch hasn't been thrown on, so you're unconscious. Most people who are unconscious, and we don't judge that. I was unconscious most of my life. It's just that you're either conscious or you're not. Most people who are unconscious, and just so you know, we all have unconscious aspects, so I still have them and so forth. But I'm talking when someone's really, for the bigger portion, is unconscious. They are enrolled in the matrix, okay? And the way that this whole matrix thing works, and this is how I saw it psychically. So most of what I share with you guys are visions that I receive. They're just a perspective, so I don't necessarily impose my beliefs or whatever on people. I just share what comes to me because I believe there's relevance to all truths. Everything is true, just depending on which dimension of frequency you're vibrating in. It just depends on the perception that you choose to assume, if that makes sense. But everything is true. Everyone is experiencing their own valid experience. I just share mine. So the vision I got was, I saw this huge machine, okay, that would just suck people's energy, siphon off all the energy. And this machine was like very dark in the sense that it fed off of lower emotions, lower frequency of thought, lower everything. That's what it fed on. Now, emotional vampires, for the most part, have no clue they're actually sucking your energy. Okay? But that's because the matrix is sucking your energy through them. That huge machine that I saw in my vision was actually taking that energy, all right, to sustain whatever they're sustaining. They need that energy, okay? So they're vampires, and it's a vampiric system. And I try not to energize that too much, all the conspiracy stuff, because I've already transcended to an amazing reality. However, and a lot of you have, however, it is good to bring awareness to this. That way, people who are still participating in that lower game or in that lower mind consciousness can have an understanding of what's really going on, that they're really just a number. Just like some employees are just a number and they're disposable. They're just a number in this game of the matrix, and they're making themselves really sick by continuing to play in that game. So if we can start to understand that entities, all right, including interdimensional entities, and I don't know if the Matrix, the government, all that, they're aware of these aliens, whatever, but I know that there are entities and I've seen them. I've had time, when I was awakening, it was really difficult because I was given direct insight to how the darkness operates and how the light operates. And I felt like I was in the middle of it all, being tossed around like a salad. And I would go home crying a lot because I wasn't seeing humans anymore. I was seeing the energy underneath it all. I was seeing the warfare with it all. And so that was a very enlightening time for me, very eye-opening. And it's truly kind of like the foundation of everything that I share or re-educate people with. But I saw the battle between the light and the dark. And it was so... wow. I mean, mind-blowing. So what I wanted to say is that people who are asleep, I call them screensavers, it's just my little comical thing. People who are asleep are puppeteers. They're marionettes. And something is occupying them. Entities, all right? And these entities, for now, just for this video, let's just liken them to being Matrix program, to being fear-based programs, to being actual entities that possess your body and live in your body rent-free, or to mind control. And so if you don't own it, something's gonna take control of you. Something's going to own you. And so, and they go around, people who are asleep go around and they're running all these fear-based programs and all this dysfunction. And they don't know they're sucking your energy, but because they come from that place of lack, because they're coming from that enslavement program, they're constantly taking, withdrawing from your bank account. And now we can't say it's our bank account because we have to hold ourselves accountable. If we allow that in our field of consciousness, if we allow that into our reality, that's ours. All right. In my reality, there's nothing that's taking my energy because I don't allow it anymore. And I had to be thrown on the ground enough times and get back up and to say enough. I'm not allowing this in my reality anymore. Did every phase of it serve me? Absolutely. Because I was shown, like I said, I was shown a very clear movie as to how this entire thing works, with the darkness and the light, with the unconsciousness and the conscious, with the fear-based versus love. That's my phone. Let me just put it on silent. So anyways, people who are emotional vampires, most of them have no clue they're taking your energy. They're just completely enrolled into the Matrix program. And when you take the bait and you play in that dysfunction, okay, and you actually shortchange yourself energetically and you give to to someone who's taking, you're actually being a vampire to yourself. All right? So that's also an important perspective because we tend to point the finger a lot and we tend to delegate blame games or shift the blame on people. And that's our own unconscious program. It's the part of us that still feeds off of our own energy by feeding into lack, by feeding into our own lack. Most of you who are probably watching the video are probably already awakened, so you've stopped doing that, or you're in the process of putting a stopper on all that and reclaiming your power. But an emotional vampire cannot exist in your reality if you don't allow it. They can't. And for me, it's not even about the human. At this point, it's like if there's anyone coming at me with an energy of a taker, I know that that's just an old energy system, the Matrix, the 3D, that's already been, honestly, you guys, if you were to cast your consciousness into the Pleiades, into the future, into whatever, into light years ahead, that 3D system doesn't exist anymore. It's already been obliterated. Okay? We already have moved up into a higher existence. And I get to experience it every day, and I'm sure a lot of you do too, but you transcend all the fear, and then you don't need to attract the fear anymore because it has nothing to teach you anymore. So it's kind of like freeing yourself from the karma, clearing your karmic credit card, if you will, and then there's no reason to attract that in your life anymore because it taught you what it needed to teach you, and you graduated. All right. You still attract different things, but they may not be of a karmic nature. They may be of a galactic nature. They may be of a, you get the idea. But karma is anything that is still in the 3D, in the Matrix program. When you point or fight people or you defend yourself and all that, that's all in the Matrix stuff. And two people can be fighting and have no clue that the entire time there's a machine over them taking all their energy. Like it's crazy. Or there are different entities that encircle them like a pack of wolves and devour them energetically. So I like to bring awareness to this stuff without feeding it too much, but I like to bring awareness to this stuff so that people can understand the energetics of things and how there is a lot going on behind the scenes. When you start to free yourself from the Matrix, when you exit the Matrix, there are going to be a lot of forces that retaliate because they want to keep you in the Matrix. And even now, don't be surprised if people try to push your buttons or trigger you. That's just the old Matrix trying to roll you back in. And you get to a place where you don't even engage. The other day I had a woman that said something that was fear-based, and it just had like a negative vibe. I didn't even respond. I tuned it out. I was like, I don't want that reality. I'm choosing this one instead. And you get to that place. You get to that place where you're honorable towards yourself, to where you never shortchange yourself, to where you never allow things in that are going to tax your energy because you know how that goes. You've already been there. All right. And we've all been there. When you get into a conflict with someone, you know it's only going to downward spiral. All right. You guys are going to reach the bottom of the pit and it's not going anywhere. And the whole time you're doing that, your energy is getting vacuumed by the Matrix. And yes, remember, there are many layers to this. So I'm sure there are things in government that are sucking your energy. Okay, whenever you're feeding, whenever you're watching porn, or whenever you're anything that is disempowering. Okay, and I'm not saying that watching porn is necessarily bad, because we don't judge things, but anything that you do that you don't want to be doing is something that you're a slave to. All right, anything that you're doing that you don't want to be doing is something that you're a slave to. So those unconscious things, when you come out of your alignment with your higher self, anytime you're not in alignment with your higher self, I rest assured your energy is going somewhere. All right, energy is gold, and it goes somewhere. There are children, and I even got that about myself. There are children who come into this world with so much light and such a knowing inside. They're so ahead of the curve and so advanced spiritually. And sometimes these children will get molested. And it's because there are entities working behind the scenes influencing a human who is enrolled in the Matrix. I know I'm going deep right now. There are entities that are malevolent, okay, that want humans' energies, that will influence a human, plant thoughts in their head to then molest a child. And then who gets the energy? The dark entities. So we have to be really mindful of this stuff and that it goes on. A lot of us, our powers were stripped eons ago. We had the ability to move things with our mind. We had the ability to teleport, bilocate, all that stuff. I could do all that stuff now, but I had to reactivate my DNA. A lot of us were dumbed down. We run 12 strands of DNA, and 10 strands were robbed, were taken from us. Our power was taken. But I don't want to be in the victim, because this is not what it is. We actually contracted to play in this reality. We contracted to be a part of the Matrix so that we can eventually say, no, I'm taking my power back. I'm reconnecting to the truth of who I am. I'm embodying my divinity. I'm embodying my power. So in a way, you could say that we signed the contract to come into this reality and be slaves, be asleep, to eventually say, whoa, wait, no, I'm awakening from the slumber and I'm taking my power back. All right? So we agree to everything. But yes, the Matrix will suck people's energies left and right all day long. And it's like a machine that is, wow. I mean, I don't even have words to describe it. I went through, in my early stages of awakening, when I still had entities attaching to me. Like, I had people bullying me and I had all this stuff. I could see these demons trying to take my energy. All right. And then that's where I had to really instill a discipline in myself, where I meditate all the time, where I develop sharp discernment. Discernment is a huge part of your spirituality. To decipher what is of the highest good, right? And when you meditate, you become a magnet. When you have energy like Kundalini flowing and coursing through your body, you become a magnet. So that's where you have to go through different stages where you start to differentiate between different beings. And that's where you develop the skill of reading frequency. You start to read and see frequency. When I meditate, I feel like I have one of the glasses on, like the detectives, and I'm just reading the light codes as they come, right? But you're not reading words anymore. You're reading frequency, and you're tuning your mind to all the subtleties, to all the subtle frequencies. That way you know who you're forming alliances with. But yes, most people who are asleep will make an attempt to suck your energy, and you just have to dismiss it. Right? We do not compromise ourselves. And I talk about compromising ourselves a lot because this is a time where we reclaim our power, where we really shift into being our true selves and not enabling people anymore. Because when we do that, we're just actually taking from our own spiritual funds. We're actually draining our own energy. And so that's a vampiric aspect that we still hold within that we need to clear. Emotional vampires will no longer enter your reality if it doesn't serve a purpose. If you have an emotional vampire in your life, it means that it's serving you a purpose, and that purpose may be that you say enough, and I don't want this anymore. And you leave that reality behind. A lot of this reality has been designed in a way where we feel like disempowered or enslaved or subjected to things that we don't want to be subjected to, so that we can say enough. And the second you do that, you're like, and you bring all your power back. And then the challenge then is to maintain that frequency. Okay, because a lot of us can meditate and be in alignment, and then we go out to our jobs and we lose that connection. The goal here is to hold and maintain that connection all the time. That doesn't happen overnight. It's an incremental process, all right? It's like holding your breath under the water. That vision's been coming to me lately. You hold it for 5 seconds, and then you try for 10, and then you aim for 1 minute and 5 minutes. And then you eventually start to really hold that higher reality in your mind all the time. And you start to integrate that and embody that to where it gets easier, and life gets easier. Because you're not easily pulled by those old ways anymore, by those old belief systems that you once held, that were once embedded deep into your cellular memory, deep into your cellular structure of your body. So holding that higher consciousness all the time and maintaining that vibration, that frequency, is the practice. That's really what it's about. It's about being like this beautiful warrior of light. And you're almost like a raincoat and you're impermeable, okay? And things can't get in, and you hold your power, and you have nothing to protect because you embody the light. You carry your torch. You become the example. You become the light. You're a beacon of light, okay? And you may still attract negativity sometimes, but you say no to it. That's not welcome, okay? You turn it away. You take them, turn them away. All right, walk off now. I don't want this. So, but yes, I just wanted to bring awareness to how there are other beings out there who have an agenda, who want to take your energy. And, this is another download I got a couple weeks ago. It might be a little off-grid, a little out there, but I'm going to share it anyways. Why would certain beings want to steal your emotions? Why would certain beings want to steal your lower vibrational thoughts and emotions? This is just one perspective, but maybe they don't have emotions, so they need to steal emotions to study them. It's just a thought I had the other day. So, and look, every being in the galactic, in outer space is going to have an agenda. But most of them are here for our good. They're here to assist us with our ascension. They're here to assist us with our evolution, with our elevation. They're here to help us, really. But just be on the lookout for emotional vampires, because they belong to an old system. And the 3D matrix is out. The 5D is already here and above, 5D and beyond. And so as gatekeepers, as wisdom keepers, as guardians, just know that we have a duty. Truly, we have a mission to not let that stuff in. We're here to break down and bust old energy systems. So never ever play in that game of the matrix, of that old reality that you've already graduated from, or that you're graduating from. You're done with that. You don't need that anymore. There are so many energies that will support you, so many higher dimensional beings that are here for your good. And as long as you keep saying no to what doesn't feed your soul, you'll always be taken care of by these higher realities. And most of what you come into contact with is a test to see if you really, really mean what you say, okay? And if you really hold your own. So here's to being galactic warriors. Here's to being starseeds, light workers, grid holders, wisdom keepers, and know that it's also good to not feed into all that, all right? It's okay to talk about things if you don't feel riled up about it. A lot of people give their power away to the Matrix by getting excited, or by getting overly reactionary, and by getting angry. All those negative emotions, the anger, the upset, the frustration, the pointing a finger, the judgment, all that is going to feed the machine of the Matrix. That's pretty much what I came on here to say tonight. So love yourself, and don't give your power away, because when you do that, it goes somewhere. All right? I love you guys. Sending you infinite love, infinite light, infinite blessings. Please share and subscribe.